Hi y'all, it's Becky Raisler. I have Becky's Journals on Instagram and YouTube. I'm also on Facebook at Rebecca Raisler, parentheses Becky Raisler. And today I am getting geared up for my weekend project. And this is it's Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. My husband has a 4-day weekend off. I live on a river, and there will be lots and lots of noise coming from party boats on the river. And I wanted to show you an example of some of the journals that I have made in the last 5 years that I've been making junk journals and art journals. This is just a sampling of some of them that I've made. But I wanted to show you that there's lots of different kinds of ways to make journals, and you don't have to limit yourself to just one way. Just do it like you like it. And I have to say, for those who are just starting out, there is a learning curve, because there are so many different ways that people are making journals or handmade books, and you just have to play around with it and learn some basic techniques like sewing in signatures and making book covers. Once you've gotten past that initial hurdle of learning some basic techniques, the sky's the limit. You can do anything you want, and you can make books out of just about anything. So this is all about the handmade books that I have made in the last 5 years. Now, I've been an artist for many, many years. I was a professional artist and sold my wall art, paintings and collages and things professionally for quite a few years. And so I've had lots of time to play with techniques and learn a little bit about the color combinations and balancing your composition, that type of thing. When you're first starting, and if you don't have an art background, you're going to find that you're going to struggle a little bit, but don't worry. I came to junk journaling from art journaling. I did mixed media artwork and paintings on canvas for 5 years. That's all I did. 5 years time period. I did mixed media abstract art, and I was getting kind of to the point where I wanted to do something different. So I decided that I wanted to get into art journaling. I had seen some people doing art journaling. So I found at a thrift store this great big Audubon Illustrated Handbook of American Birds. This thing is really old, like from the 1940s. It was starting to fall apart, but the cover is a cloth cover that is still holding up. And I have been working on this one off and on for 5 years. This is the one I started with, and I have a flip through of all of these journals. In my YouTube playlist, I have Becky's journal flip throughs, or some kind of playlist along that name. Probably Becky's journal flip throughs, and it shows all the flip throughs of all the journals. So I'm not going to show you that, but I wanted to show you where I started. This thing is huge. It is 11.5 inches wide by 11.5 inches tall by 8.5 inches wide, and it has a 2.5 inch spine. And this is what you call an altered book. And to make an altered book, what you do is you go into the original book, you leave it all intact, and then you take out a bunch of pages, at least half of them. And then the rest of the pages you glue 2 or 3 together to make a sturdy, thick, heavy pages that you can do mixed media art on. And this is also called an artist's book. You'll hear some people call it an artist's book. It is an art journal. There's any different number of things that can be used to describe it. I made a closure recently out of an old necklace, a vintage necklace, and I just made the closure with a hole on this side to put a loop through, and then it comes like that to clip on. And I did it this way because I'm still working in this book. Every page that's in it has something on it, but since I did it years ago, when I go back and look in this book, I think, you know, I think that would look better if I did this or that to the page. So this one is all the mixed media. I call it my, I think I called it my mixed media art journal idea book, something along that line. It's one of the first earliest videos that I made for the flip through. And so this one, I still have to work on the cover to make an interesting cover to it. In the back has gotten, since you're working with wet media a lot, the back it has got really dirty, but I didn't worry about that. Like I said, it's not completely finished yet, but it's to the point now where I could probably finish off the front and play with some of the pages. And when I finish off the front and the back and play with the pages some, I'll show you how that looks. But right for now, I just wanted to show you where I am at this point. Okay, the next kind of journal that I made after I learned how to do the altered book journal, this is one of the earliest handmade book journals that I made out of a cereal box. And it also is a big one. It's got 3 really large signatures in it. And it is pretty big. 6.5 inches wide by 9 inches tall, with a, looks like I made it with a 2 1/4 inch spine. It was not a big enough spine, as you can see. It is loaded with all kinds of things that I made when I, ephemera that I made when I was first learning. And I learned how to make a tassel, and I taught myself how to do all this stuff. I looked at some YouTube videos and said, hey, I could do that. And so this one has a custom tassel. This cover paper, I covered the cereal box with paper, and the paper came from my drop paper like this that's on the bottom here. I use this as drop paper when I'm painting, and which I don't paint much anymore, but I always keep this on my work table to catch the drips and the splatters and what have you. So this was actually drop paper that I use, and I covered it with. After I finished doing it, putting the cover down, I sprayed it with about 4 coats of clear coat spray. I think it was Krylon. It was something from the local hardware store. You know, it was just the cheapest clear spray paint that they had, and I gave it like 4 good coats to protect the paper covering on that. And I used a satin spray, so it's slightly shiny. Okay, and I do have a flip through video of that. One of the next types of journals that I learned how to make was this one here. This is Serenity, and it is an accordion book. And it is, I believe, 4x4. Let's see. No, it's about 5.5 inches square is what this size is, and it came out to about 2 inches wide. And the way you make an accordion book is you, all the pages are connected, one right after the other, and then it folds up. And then you you flip through it like this, one side, and then when you get through doing that, you turn it over and flip through it that way. So it's a two-sided accordion book where there is, in this one, this is a cross between an art journal and a junk journal. It is fully decorated. Every page is covered in collage work. It is more of a collage journal. You'll hear some people call their books collage journals. And if you're a collage artist and you like to make collages, well, hey, here you go. These are fun to make. And I mean, they're small enough. You can do these small, a page a day, a small collage, and have a lot of fun with it. And one thing about making these accordion journals is that you can make them as heavy and as thick as you want without having to worry about how big the spine is, because there is no spine. You're not going to get a gator mouth with these accordion journals, and they'll open out all the way out, or you can flip it one page at a time. Okay, and now, and I have a flip through, and I also have a video about how I made this one, but it's pretty cryptic. I'm not a very good teacher, sorry y'all. Sometimes I could come out and do it in writing and do it like a lesson plan, but other than that, you know, I'm not all that great at teaching how to do things. This is a journal that I made out of some type of cracker box. And it's 2 signatures. It's a smaller size journal. It is one of the earlier ones I made probably several years ago. It's 5 inches wide and 7 3/4 inches tall, with about, I'm guessing, 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 spine, 2 signatures. There's a hole right there, the ribbon's tied in, and then it wraps around several times and bow ties in the front. And this is a journal that I made because I bought a vintage curtain, drapery at a thrift store, and it had this cool fabric on it, and I like botanical fabric, so this is a probably 1960s botanical fabric, kind of thick upholstery grade fabric that I used to cover that. And I made 3 journals with this fabric, and I still have 2 of them. And I do have flip throughs of those. Where am I? Oh, here's another type I did early on. I learned how to make little golden book junk journals. And little golden books are 6 3/4 inches wide and 8 inches tall. Of course, I had made a new spine, and I made a 2-inch spine for this. Now, the little golden books, when you alter the little golden books, they've got 2 original spines in them. I'm sorry, 2 original signatures in them. And so I wanted to keep the storyline of the book pages intact, in order. And so I made 2 signatures with this book and then added additional. It's got metal corners because these books have been well loved, well used. I did a custom, I made this custom jewelry for the to hang there, and it ties. There's a hole here and a hole here, and it wraps around and ties right here. Okay. Once I had completed doing those, I started learning how to cover my books with fabric. And this is one of the journals that I made from an old book. It was an old book that was 9 1/2 inches tall and 6¼ inches wide, and it's a hardcover book. And I made a new spine for it that's about 2 inches wide, and I covered it with this textured fabric that I found, this pink textured fabric. I put book corners on it. I made a big cover topper for the top and decorated, and then I did the 2 signatures inside. And I did a 5-hole because it was so tall. I did a 5-hole pamphlet stitch on this one to make it real sturdy. And you can see the flip through on that. Then I decided to branch out and learn how to do a tab binding. And this is like an accordion book, except for you use, and in this case I use fabric tabs to do a tab binding. And this is made from a vintage bingo cards that were used in the VFW halls, I think. That's where these came from, here locally. And I learned how to make this, and the tie there's holes right here, and it's tied in the tie, which came from an old dress that I had, belt tie. And I just wrapped it around a number of times, then push it through with this antique skeleton key that I use for the closure. This one, there's no actual signatures because each page is tab bound in. So this is a non-signature journal. Another type of journal that I made a lot of, and I'm still working on right now, is these Reader's Digest condensed books from the 60s, 70s, and sometimes from the 50s. And they're about 7½ inches tall and about 5¼ inches wide. And their spine on this one is about 1¾ inch on this one. These are smaller. This right here is the original book cover. I just made a new spine and attached it with that fabric and reinforcement cardboard and what have you, and decorated it up. And I am working on a series. I think I've done probably about 7 of these so far, and I've got about I may have done more than that. I don't know. I've sold a few. I've got some that are unembellished journals that I've made, and I've got a stack of covers left to build journals with. So I may have done more than 7 so far, but I've got about 10 more to do. And here is an example of a 1-signature journal with a rounded spine. I made this with a cereal box, one side of the cereal box, and sewed in the signature there with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, rounded the spine, stuffed it full, put 2 holes in the back to run the cord through and tie it off. And these are about 7½ inches tall and approximately 5½ inches wide. This spine, this rounded spine, comes out to about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches when it's rounded off like that. Okay, and then I already showed you this one. I was going to show you this one again because I like it and I think it's really cool. And if you haven't seen the flip through of this, I highly recommend you go look through it. It was a learning experience for me. And I do have a video on how I made this. So thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. It really helps me know that there's people out there interested in the things I'm doing, because Lord help me. I don't have one soul in my whole entire life who is at all interested in these journals I'm making. So if you're out there in this world and you like what I'm doing, please leave me a thumbs up. Give me a comment and say hi. I love hearing from you. Come see me. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.